And here we are. It seems we are live, and we're going to be playing some Rocksmith Plus, the new game from Ubisoft, which they have been developing over the last good portion of time. They stopped producing DLC for Rocksmith 2014. Gosh, when was that? 2019? 2018? It was a good chunk of time ago. So this is going to be a little exploratory time to have a look-see at the new features, look at what it looks like, and we're going to dive in, see what the interface looks like. I've played in the beta, so I am familiar with quite a bit of the interface, but I want to give you all a good chance to have a look at basically how it all works, which I think is interesting. They've come up with a couple cool little ideas, different sections, and they've kind of parsed out how the game works quite a bit differently from what most people would expect from a Rocksmith game. So, without further ado, I'll get into the absolute bare bones of it. So, this is my screen, but you have to download Ubisoft Connect in order to play this game. That's me, Timothy Live, and this is my my thingy, Ubisoft Connect, their video game hosting site, basically their equivalent of Steam. It doesn't have a huge amount on it, but this is the only place that you can get Rocksmith Plus. So I have Rocksmith Plus installed on here. Whoop, it's already starting. Double clicked by accident there. But yeah, there's going to be a bunch of updates and stuff. They have a bunch of challenges and a bunch of fun things that you can get into just so that you have that like achievable goals thing. Oh, it decided to start anyway. So anyway, this is the beginning of the old Rocksmith. Hopefully it acts well and doesn't act out. I might start a new profile just so that everybody has a good idea of how to play the game. I'm on an Xbox remote here. Lots of nice, pretty sounds. So, I guess we will... I wonder, can I swap out to a different profile? Because I have the 1 year membership thingy, which is nice. Let's see. Cancel subscription? No. Manage account. Ah. That's not what I want. Controls guide. My instrument? Nope. All right. So there is an intro thing that you can do that asks you if you have played Rocksmith before, if you are advanced guitar. It asks for your layout of the headstock of your guitar as Rocksmith 2014 and Rocksmith Original did before it. So we have a whole bunch of really cool, really nicely put together, very swanky videos from Ubisoft that just walk you through like where to start basically with this. It is definitely for beginners initially. Like the intro stuff will be lost if you decide that you want to just immediately jump into the game and experience the absolute depth of it, the like advanced stuff. But the basics, you know, walks you through. Any time that I've played the Rocksmith game that I've had to reload it onto a computer, I always just go through the like, oh, I'm new to this. Let me see what you can help me out with, and that kind of stuff is cool. They have a very intuitive kind of interface for it, and there's all sorts. Like everything is like beautifully animated and well shot and has very clear instructions as to like what to do basically. And these are like absolute beginner stuff, and it will recommend absolute beginner songs for you if you go to total beginner status as a person who has never played guitar before. Because, you know, that's kind of what you want. You don't want to be jumping straight into like all kinds of crazy stuff, because I have mine set to, I think, intermediate or expert, probably intermediate, because I'm not full of myself. There's a couple of songs that I've really come to like, during the beta. I really like this one. It's relatively simple. The chords in it, though, on guitar are really, really nice. So this is an example of one of the songs that, you know, nobody has heard of probably. And no one who has played Rocksmith in the past and has the complaints of like, oh, it's not Rocksmith anymore. Although, you know, those are the kinds of complaints that, you know, are relatively legitimate. Because you hear something called Rocksmith, you expect rock, but also rock can be anything. It influences everything. Something like this has guitar parts in it. So it's very much worth knowing, basically, like as much as you can. Oops. Like it'll show you everything. Like it shows you so much of how to play the things that you want to play. Like this was never shown in any other things. You can watch a video about it. Oh, you can hear it. You can hear it played. There you go. That's a nice D flat chord. Oh, and you can switch the hand if you're left-handed or right-handed. They are very inclusive. No sound? Well, I think it's just very quiet, the game anyway. No sound at all? Are you sure? Audio exclusivity might be on. So I see. It's not coming through. So this stream is probably just going to be troubleshooting as many things as I possibly can in Rocksmith Plus. So I apologize. If anybody have any questions relating to it, I can answer those because I was part of the beta. And, well, briefly. I wasn't able to for quite a while, but then in the last couple of weeks, I grabbed a bunch of stuff that are like custom bits and bobs. I didn't get all the way there. Ooh. Yeah, I have a couple of fun little bits and bobs that I really like. Ooh, pretty. Pretty. So yeah, I have played a chunk of this game. Oh, I'm actually gonna equip that guy. Because him fancy. But yeah, I can answer any questions that people have about the game regarding its playstyle, regarding... And if you want to see what it looks like, you could definitely ask me to just put on a song and I can show you what the interface looks like while it is being played. Because it is a little different. It's a kind of simplified, to a certain extent, version of what Rocksmith used to do. Because in Rocksmith, you could just have the blank wall in the background, just like you're in a practice space, or you could have the whole audience. To my knowledge, they don't have the whole audience thing, because this is more geared towards teaching rather than like performing to a certain extent. Because that's what a lot of people are just doing. They're here to learn the songs, learn a song, and not necessarily play in front of people. They can live that fantasy in 2014 anyway. And in the original game, they can have the little story mode that they used to have. Okay. So I'm going to be fiddling around with this for probably a portion of this until I can very clearly get it working. Yeah. Okay. Output. What makes the audio... I can't hear a game on OBS. Little cog buttons. Should I just click it and go to a little cog? It's not going to do anything for me. I'm going to swap back to the old webcam and fiddle around with the settings that are here. Properties. Okay. Okay. I've spotted something that it could be. Active sources only. Is it showing up? Nope. Yeah, it's not showing up in any of the scenes that I have for Vigi Games. All right. Back to the nicely framed version. Right. I would like to know what that little dot was called. The one in OBS that basically turns itself on and off. Because there's a little dot inside the audio mixer. I'm gonna tell it to play a YouTube video again. Okay. So that's showing up. Very strange. Very strange indeed. What a shame. So you can see that it doesn't appear to be working through OBS. So I guess this stream is kind of moot at this point. Half an hour in, and I have nothing for you, unfortunately. I can show you what the interface looks like and what the gameplay looks like. So I will do that at the very least. And I'll show you... That feels so silly. Ah well, some people, you know, will make their judgment based on the interface or on the selection. And I guess I can preview some of that for the people that are here, because I appreciate people stopping by. I'm posted in a couple different places on Facebook, and so I want to give you something. So this is the game. I played in the beta, so I am familiar. I don't have to go through the introductory steps, as the introductory steps are very similar to in Rocksmith 2014 when you start the game fresh. It asks you what type of headstock you have, it asks you what handedness you are, and you can set those and reset them. The introductory stuff is very clear, very concise, quite beautifully put together, honestly. This is one of my favorite things is the exercises. I've been really enjoying doing those. I think they were part of a pack of DLC in the original 2014. I never actually picked it up, but a whole bunch of really, really great exercises for string skipping when you're playing. And I'll just put one on just to show you. The interface, very, very similar. The tuner works, I think, slightly better. It's like the precision one that everybody uses whenever the game doesn't want to work with you. It is much clearer with what you have to do. Not that it was particularly unclear, but it's nice, sounds great, very easy to follow. There we go. And then it switches around to this, and it's basically as you all remember it. You won't be able to hear, obviously, unfortunately. With the exercises, they give you the option to change the speed of it. The note by note option allows you to just play note by note, which is an excellent new feature. But this is what it looks like. Unfortunately, as I said, I won't have any audio, but you got the little visualization things on the side. And those are totally customizable. You can set up your own version of them if you like. And they change colors and have all sorts of different customizable aspects to them, which is really cool. And the kind of simplification of it, like, it feels like it's lighter on your GPU, even though Rocksmith was made to run on like a very like low end. Like Rocksmith 2014 didn't have any problem playing on like some of the barest bones of systems. So you can obviously turn off various different types of things. You can customize the visuals all the way up and down, which is really cool. The note picking up is, I think, even better than it has been before. I'd imagine that is something that they would really want to kind of perfect. And with the Rocksmith cables being kind of as old as they are nowadays, and without, to my knowledge, much update to their tech, to their hardware, there would potentially be some issues. But if you have a nice interface, which I do, I have the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2, one for the microphone and one for the guitar, and I'm playing through output 2, which it allows you to choose. It's very clear about like making it as completely accessible to whoever is possible, whoever would possibly want to play this game. And unfortunately, as you can obviously hear, the audio isn't working. I couldn't get it to work, but you can kind of tell what this sounds like. This is just an exercise. This is more whoops. This is more of an expose of the interface. After this exercise section, I'll go into the customizable sections, and you can tell it what parts of it you do like, you don't like. You can turn things on, you can turn things off. Angerman Games. Welcome to the chat, Angerman Games. I hope you appreciate what I'm doing here despite the lack of audio. I'm basically just trying to give a little bit of an expose of how it works, my experience with it, which is that I have over 1,500 hours in Rocksmith 2014. I can't remember exactly how many, but it is an absurd amount for somebody who doesn't do it professionally. Well, I technically do it professionally since I stream on here. But, yeah, interface is great. Everything really flows quite nicely. I didn't have any issues with trying to find what I wanted to play or anything like that. And the music selection it's broad because they want to like teach people how to play guitar, not necessarily teach people like, I mean, teaching people through the songs that they want to learn is often the most effective way of teaching. But to scoff so hard at like everything that is in the game feels, you know, not very kind to the developers who have put this all together. But this is truly an excellent like interface for learning guitar, I feel like. And if you can get over your expectations regarding like, oh, I wish this song was in it, or oh, I wish this song was in it, then it really shines as a tool for learning guitar. And as they said, they're going to be showing off, like, they're going to be adding so much more music to this game. They've stated millions of songs. They're over 5,000 now, and licensing is purportedly going to be a lot easier. And they have added Master of Puppets, I believe. I've seen people throwing that around, but I don't know. I haven't been in since I saw that. But, you know, like, everything that you need to be able to learn the guitar is here. You have warm-ups and exercises, and that interface there that was telling you little sections, it shows you how much you've missed. It gives you recommendations regarding like sections to work on if you very obviously missed a couple things. I think it detects a relatively rudimentary level of the techniques that you were going through, to my knowledge. I'm going to see if ye old Master of Puppets is here, because I'm sure people will care a lot about that. There's a lot of Mudvayne, I noticed, which is pretty cool. They're a grand old band. My wife went to see them. There's even Paul Gilbert available. Most of them are chord charts, unfortunately. I'd love to play some more Paul Gilbert. I'd love to learn more Paul Gilbert, which is kind of what this game is about. Like, there is such a breadth of music available. Let's see. Master of Puppets. Master. Where are you? Where's my mouse? There it is. Master. I'm sure that'll show it up. Okay, so it's not there. But that doesn't matter, you know? Unless it's in rock and not in metal. That would be kind of funny. Master. Yeah, it's not there. Whatever. But there's so much to this game. Like, one of my favorite songs that I have found is a song called No Fear No More. Just because it's like groovy, and it's chords that I haven't often played. Like, I'm familiar with most of them, but like, you can't obviously hear, but this is kind of a more electronic sound. And it shows you everything that's in here. This is one of my favorite things about Rocksmith Plus, because if you were playing a song that you weren't familiar with and you didn't know how hard it was going to be, you can go down to this chord section and it'll show you like how to play each chord. It'll show you like where to finger things. It'll show you like how to play them. There you go. Like, that is fantastic. Like, that is so helpful regarding like trying to like understand a song before you get to it, because sometimes the hard part of playing a song is the chords that'll show up suddenly, and if you can practice those before the song shows up, before they come at you, as stuff does in this game, you can have them prepared. You can have your fingers wrapped around a D flat major 7 chord, ready to go. You can practice it, you can see it, and then when it comes at you, you can go, oh, this is the chord that I know. And there you have it. And then there's no issues with like frantically trying to get the chord shape ready in your hand, even though you're not familiar with it, which can cause like that kind of tension, and that kind of unpreparedness can cause damage. Like, you can like tense up so much in your hand, like desperately trying to get the chord shape, that you can damage your hand. So when you're playing, if you're like desperately trying to keep up, trying to play different chords like before they even show up, or like as they show up, you don't know what's happening, you don't know what is coming your way, that tension can cause muscle strain and all that kind of thing. And so this chord explorer, I think, is one of my favorite things, because I like playing fun chords. I like playing weird chords and learning new ones, because I like the kind of jazzy style things, or I like being able to produce a nice progression so that we can see how it goes, and having different options for voicings. So that is one of my favorite tools in the new Rocksmith. Unfortunately, I don't have audio for anybody who has arrived recently. But this is less about hearing the audio, because it's just clicks and bops. And then if you want to hear the actual music, you can go into that. One of the more fun and more customizable parts of it are the instrument customizations that you can do. We have options for Gibsons, and we have options for Ibanez. I hope Fender will get in there and show themselves off, because I'm a Fender fanboy. But I love Ibanez's. I'm not a big fan of Gibson, honestly, but you know, they're a classic guitar brand that are iconic to a lot of people and very important. So that can be a selling point to those people, or not a selling point even, just like a part of it that you can choose to customize. And you don't even have to sell, like, you don't have to buy any of the Gibson stuff. Like, there is a good portion of it that is, like, free, you know? Like, these two different headstocks, two of the iconic Gibson headstocks, standard 60s iced tea, or a vintage cherry satin. Ooh. Oh, it's for the whole neck. Cool. And then they have their own tuners. You can have the kind of vintagey looking things, and the fretboard markers, or the fretboard, only rosewood, but you can choose to have it with or without binding. Kind of cool. And then their inlays, you can have their famous little weird trapezoid, they're calling it here, white acrylic trapezoid. And that's kind of cool. Handy. There's, I think, less options in the old Ibanez, although they're about the same, which is kind of cool. Are you playing this through an interface or with the USB Rocksmith lead? I'm playing through the interface. I'm playing through Focusrite. So, which is an option. You can play without the Rocksmith cable. As I said before, the old Rocksmith cable is probably what they intended it to be used for, but you can go into the old other interfaces, and I have that set up. It works well for me. I can hear things, even if you can't. Yeah, and it recognizes the like separate tracks and everything. Like once you have selected your Focusrite USB audio ASIO, I think like you don't even need the ASIO plugin to play this. I got that because it wasn't. I wanted to play through Rocksmith 2014 with my interface, and I had to go through a whole bunch of like telling Rocksmith which of the inputs in my Focusrite to listen to. This one just does it. Like I could go to the Focusrite audio USB audio, and then more settings. I go to the input device, tell it that one, and then tell it go to input 2, which is what I have my guitar set to. And that is a huge boon to this game, I think, because some people are, you know, wary of the Rocksmith cable or buying the game and then having to buy a separate cable when they already have an interface that sends the signal of a guitar into the game. Input poo. I input poo into the game. I input the poo. But I was going to say, you can change the visualizations that are going on in the background, which is a fun little specific thing. You can turn things off, or you can turn them on. I like the bees, so I'm going to leave them shown. Little fireworks are cool. I can turn off those. I'm going to keep Rocksmith in there. So I'm going to, while playing, see a bunch of the little Rocksmith things show up. Flooding hard. You're flooding hard. Are you in... What state is experiencing massive floods? A whole bunch of them. Are you in Pakistan, which is also experiencing floods? But yeah, there's fun little bits and bobs just to personalize your experience, just to have the visuals going on in the background. I think you can turn them all off if you don't want to see them. If you want to have like the Rocksmith 2014 experience, I wonder actually, because I have the old setup for Rocksmith. Is it showing up? No, it's not for some reason. Transition. RS Big Tim. Game screen. Does it work? Okay, no, it shows up all the way as black because presumably there's some other things going on there. All right, that was just a little test. But that's cool. Good to know. Interesting. But yeah, this whole interface thing, is there a way to get sound up for us, or is it impossible? It's impossible. I've been fiddling around with it, and I spent a good 30 minutes. But currently I'm just kind of showing off the interface and how it all works together. I'll work out how to get the sound working, but currently I'm just going to show like how the interface works. Like we have the home, which has your saved songs, recently played songs in case you played a song that you had never heard before and then couldn't remember what it was called. I weep. I apologize. I cry so deeply. Skill profile is a really, really cool thing. It will track your progress over all of these specific little areas, and it'll give you a recommendation based on each of them. It'll explain it. It'll give you more on open chords, like a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff so that you can see how your techniques are doing as you progress. I've put in a couple hours into this, so it's not picked up a lot, but unpitched slides. Okay, slide your finger across the string without ending on a specific note. So there's less of those, so they have less information to go off of, but they show you like how well you're doing in this little skill profile window, which is really cool and handily insightful. Because once you get into that, then you go into the open chords and you can swap your hands. And you can go into a thing that explains specifically what it is that you need to work on, the old open chords or whatever. The cowboy chords, as they say. I haven't played many tremolos and I haven't played much tapping. But, you know, phenomenal stuff. Like, this is really helpful for somebody who is determined to improve their technique, because I know my strumming isn't great. I keep catching the last knuckle on my index finger when I'm playing live, so that is something that I need to work on. So probably why my open chords struggle a little bit, and a few bits and bobs here and there. Super handy thing. All the kids these days are into tapping. Oh, they are. There's no stopping them. Tippity tappy. Have you seen the people who tap with the pick? They go. It's mad. It's a crazy world we're living in. And yeah, like, I'm showing off some of this for the people who don't necessarily want to get into it for now, but they have their own really handy little videos. I think their YouTube channel even has a good portion of these in it. It even has like a portion about writing your own arrangements in this, which is a big feature for this that they are kind of all about, because with that they don't have to go through licensing specific like arrangements or double checking. They can have their own official ones. What is the guitar thing? What is this guitar thing worth getting into? I think so. And I think Rocksmith Plus is a legitimately really good tool for doing so. And there's so much in it that is like really healthy, like health and wellness, really healthy. Like they show you a bunch of stretches that you can do to keep yourself going, maintaining proper posture. I used to have a command that would tell me to sit up straight. More stretches. Health and wellness for your fingertips, like so much really cool stuff. And then Rocksmith Inbox is kind of going to be it's going to be a kind of community driven section where you can pose questions to the Rocksmith team, and then our buddy Doug, who is, can you download and play other users' arrangements? Yep, that's part of the plan. I'll show you. One of the songs that I played quite recently, it was, what was it? It'll probably be in my recently played, probably a little bit back there, but I'll show you. Soil, song Halo. There were two arrangements. Oh, well, I kind of reported one of them because, hi Doug, I reported one of them because it was inaccurate in a specific section, but it'll show up the other arrangements in this little section here where you can see the yellow cursor moving to and fro. Yeah, and you can add your own arrangements if you choose to go into their very I think there is like a simplified version of the actual technology that they do use to create the official ones, but then you can also download the actual program that they do use. I can't remember what it's called. Something on Fire. Notes on Fire. I can't remember. But it's kind of an industry standard one. And then there's the chord charts, which are just like really general, like cowboy chords that you will be playing, or as close to cowboy chords as you can get. Like I'll show you just what it looks like. You won't be able to hear, unfortunately. I can't get the audio for the game playing through OBS, so unfortunately this stream is without audio. But this will demonstrate a good portion of what goes on. It just gives you very simple. It gives you a little countdown occasionally to how many beats are left until you play the next chord. which is really cool, because like oftentimes it was pretty hard to tell specifically what kind of progression you were working with, and then this kind of demystifies a lot of stuff in songwriting. Like, if you hear this song, it's pretty metal and there's a lot going on in it, but the chord progression is really, really simple. You know, you have 1 to 3, 3, 7, 1, 3, 1, or even if it's not that. Hello, what's this Rocksmith Plus? It is the new version of Rocksmith that has been released. Unfortunately, I don't have the audio working. I will be troubleshooting that later, and then I'll have my audio working for a later stream. But I'm just demonstrating a lot of the kind of the visuals for now, because like the simplification of a lot of the like portions of guitar that are kind of mystifying to people. Like, people will say, like, if I said this song was like a very simple 1-3-4 a lot of the time, that wouldn't mean anything to a lot of people, because, you know, a lot of people don't know the theory. But when the theory is as simple as, like, the chords that are being played, you don't need the, like, 1-3-5. You can just say that it's the movement between these chords, and it's very, very simple. Like, you can see in this chord version that the fundamental chords behind what is happening are very, very simple, which is just like an amazing tool for learning a song and for having, like, being able to grasp the concept necessarily of the chords that are the, like, structure of a song. Because with this, you'll be able to recognize sections by the chord progressions that are going on. And you can pay attention to the chord names, or you can just pay attention to where your hand is going. And then you can reproduce this, put it into a loop or something, and then you can produce your own version of it. Like, Rocksmith Plus is, I feel like, such a powerful tool for that. It feels like they stopped concentrating necessarily on trying to make you feel like, I don't know, like a performer necessarily. And because it's in home, it's more about learning how to play the songs, how to put together a song, and how to do, like, so much more with the guitar than necessarily just learning a song. They had that with Guitarcade, and they had a little bit of that with what's it called? The score thing? Score Attack? Is that what it was called? I can't remember. But, like, that wasn't as, like, simplified as it could have been, because, like, yeah, you can break it down into the sections, and you can see up the top here, if I can get my mouse, up the top here, you can kind of guess which sections are going to be the same or relatively the same. And this is the song structure as it is. If you recognize, like, various parts of it that look very similar, you might be able to, like, guess as to, like, what the structure of the song could be. But in more songs, in other songs, it can be more complicated. So you'll have different sections that look the same technically up here, but in reality that could be different. So that's not necessarily a very good tool for recognizing that. So when you go into a chord chart, it shows you the very, very basic chord shapes that are the foundation of the song, which is, I think, an incredibly important thing if you want to start writing music yourself. Because for me, writing music, I wrote music in, like, notation. Like, I wrote kind of classical music, but writing guitar songs or writing for rock and roll or metal or what have you, that never felt particularly natural to me, because, like, I never was able to just by listening to it understand it. Whereas if you put a chart in front of me, then I can say, okay, yeah, the progression, the, like, 1, 3, 7, 4, whatever, like the what is it? The B flat to the C sharp to the, no, sorry, I'll be right. I'll say, what what is it? G flat, D flat, E flat. That's a 1, 3, 4. And because it's so broken down and so simplified in the chord charts, it's much demystified. Because like there's lots going on. It's the but you can't necessarily break that down and simplify it so easily if you're not familiar with it. So the chord chart is a fantastic tool for demystifying that kind of thing, which I very much appreciate. Just like I appreciate Wiggle Wumpus, who has just followed me. Thank you so much. So unfortunately, I don't have audio for this stream. I'm going to be coming back to this and playing through some stuff, but even then, I don't think the audio is necessarily the most important part of what I would like to do as like an expose for what is happening here. The updates, the changes, and the like specific steps that have been taken to make this interesting. Great context. Keep streaming. I can't wait to hear you play. Oh, thank you so much. I might switch over to Rocksmith 2014 at some point. Although I think I might just keep this stream about Rocksmith Plus, because I posted in a couple different places, and if people arrive a little bit late, I'll probably be repeating myself a little bit just to make sure that everybody has a full context for the different aspects of this game that I think are drastic improvements upon the previous games. Like this stuff is really fun. Like I can customize my headstock. Like that doesn't do anything in game. Like you don't necessarily need to hear this, but it is a feature that they added as like a fun little customizable thing, because your interface is your own and you like to be able to look at the cool things that are happening in front of you. Because I'm one of those. Like I love the kind of bells and whistles that you can do to personalize an experience in a video game. Do we want white binding? I mean, we have binding on the headstock, so we'll go for binding on the fretboard. Inlay, we only have 2 very basic inlays for the acoustic style Ibanez. So yeah, but like this is so cool. I mean, it's not like earth-shaking stuff, you know, but like these little cute little touches that have been made are interesting, and they're worth exploring, and they're worth paying attention to. One of the coolest things is the rewards track around the world, because once you start playing, you unlock more and more stuff, because people tore through all of the achievements in Rocksmith 2014, and I think within a month I had every single one. Maybe not. Maybe that's overstating how quickly I got through them. But it appears that Rocksmith Plus is going to have a huge amount of customizable stuff that is progression based. And the coolest stuff that I think happens in this game regarding progression is when you play a harder song, like if you were to play like the Little Fugue or something, like that's not a terribly difficult, which I think only has a rhythm chart for some reason. But if you were to play the Little Fugue and you completed it and you got 100%, you'd get something like 300 points towards your progression. And that is worth the exact same as getting 100% on one of the simpler songs. Now that sounds a little counterintuitive. You'd like, oh, I would have thought that if I complete a harder song, that I would get more points. But that's not the point of this game. The game seems to be promoting the idea of a more gradual but consistent progression. So if you 100% a simple song, that is amazing. For somebody who's just starting, if you get 100%, your first 100% is such a great feeling. I remember it was probably Blitzkrieg Bob. Like I started playing guitar a long time before I started playing Rocksmith. But even getting the like 100% and then turning off mastery mode because I realized it was kind of cheating. But getting that 100% first time around, amazing. So that 100% to a new player on a relatively simple song is worth the same amount of points as a 100% on a higher level song, so that the higher level people get a similar level of progression, which is important because it's all about progress. It's not necessarily about who's better or whatever. If you start at an expert level, then you could just play through every single song as quickly as possible, starting at the easiest and go to the bottom, and get to the very highest and 100% all of them, and good for you. You can play Rocksmith, all 5,000 songs, however quickly that they can churn them out, which I think is going to be a significant enough pace. But the most important thing in this is the progression, as I said again and again. And that is tracked relatively well in the skill profile. It's tracked in your song progress. There are so many tools in this to help you, like, as this says on the right there, the mastery gain, it shows you your progression. Like this is such a great thing. Like, this song, the one that I have here, No Fear No More, is one of my favorites. It only has a rhythm arrangement because, you know, I could put together a lead arrangement that follows the vocal track or some of the other synthy parts. But it's telling me that this is the most played in the last 30 days. Excuse me. 104 songs by the Wiggles, by the way. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, Wiggle Wumpus. Is that why you're Wiggle Wumpus? Because you're all about the Wiggles. I haven't seen any of the Wiggle songs. That sounds great, though. I did see that. That is very, very funny. That they have so many songs by the Wiggles. And then, like, all sorts of different things going on here. But yeah, this is about teaching you how to advance in guitar. If you don't get 100% on a song, maybe there was a little bit of rockiness with your technique, or maybe the note pickup wasn't perfect. But having not gotten 100%, it promotes you going back to it, which is what practice is. It's going back and learning each thing because, you know, you want to. It's not about being the best at guitar. It's about learning. Worth over Rocksmith 2014. Well, it depends what you value in a Rocksmith game. I think that this is head and shoulders worth a good chunk more than base game Rocksmith. Don't practice guitar. Am I screwed? You might be. I'm so sorry. Is there a way to set default difficulty higher or lower? There is, I believe. You can go into gameplay, difficulty settings. You can go to the curated songs, and then you can set it to experienced or beginner. So it's not a broad thing that you can do for it. So you can tell it that you are experienced and you know how to play, or you can tell it that you're a beginner. But also, this switch, which I have set to on, is really, really important for somebody who really wants to learn. So if I set max difficulty to off, that means that it's going to level it down to your level. And as you play more of this game, it will pay attention and raise other things to a similar level. Like there are songs in this that are very, very simple. There will only be 2, 3, maybe 4 steps of progression before you have every part of the song to be able to play the whole thing. Bless. Looking at jumping with the bass later with a couple of years of 2014. So that's a bonus. Looking at jumping in with bass later after a couple of years of 2014. Well, you can play bass on 2014. You can swap it over. I don't fully understand what you mean by that. But yeah, this game is incredibly adaptable at paying attention to how good you are and adjusting the level of ability by yours. Like I will show you. I'll turn off the thing that I just did, the max difficulty, and leveling speed, level up only, normally. Yeah, that's fine. I'll set it down to beginner again, and I'll show you what a chart will look like if you go absolute minimum, the total bottom. Does the guy still say learn a song? He does not, unfortunately. Learn a song. I'm going to be the one to say that, unfortunately, the whole time. It's just going to be me. So this is a song that I found that was pretty cool. It has a really cool lead part. But I'm going to go in and I'll show you what it looks like when it recognizes that you are a total beginner. Let's see. So I'll go to riff repeater, and I will. Okay, so it is set to 0. This thinks that I am a total beginner. It has no idea what. Like I don't know how to play according to this game, which I do, but whatever. So there's a lot more going on in this song than is going to be presented here. And it's a nice slow progression towards you so that you can see the note, you can line it up, and then you can play it when it comes along. So I played the one note perfectly, and it gave me the 100% on that. And then I can see the notes coming in 16th fret, that's that one. And it shows you, as it goes, how to progress. It'll level up as you level up. And then you can see the next note coming in, that's an 8 on the blue string, which is an important thing for learning the interface. I needed to level up with it when I was first learning how to play. I think I started playing in 2018, or maybe even before. But I'll show you, once you have mastered it, or you have leveled up a little bit, I'm going to go up. I'm going to bring this back here. So you saw the parts that we played. We can bump it up a little bit. I'll say we progressed. We played it through a couple times, and we're up to 50% difficulty. We have learnt we have progressed through this song to a level where we are at 50% of the notes being presented. And I'm sorry that the audio isn't available. I'll show you what this song actually sounds like so that you can kind of hear. And maybe you can pick up my guitar when I'm playing it. But I'll show you. Like, you saw what it looked like before. Okay, so it throws a lot more notes at you. And I will look up this song on the internet for you. Whoopsie. What's it called? Kureha Ito Shiuta. Because this is a relatively advanced song. Kureha Ito Shiuta. Gardenelia. Yeah. So this is the song that it is showing here. So let's see if you can hear that. So that's the part that it is trying to teach you. Unfortunately, Mr. Soler, I can't get the audio to work. Unfortunately, I can't get the audio in the game to work through OBS. So that is definitely a downside, especially with demonstrating something like I am currently trying to. But somebody had asked about the progression in the game, and so unfortunately I can't get it to work. But hopefully I'll be back on and I'll be able to show a better example of various aspects. But the most important parts, like everybody who is here knows, well, I'd imagine most people know how the game works. Like it's basically Guitar Hero. You plug your guitar into a computer and it picks up whatever you play. But these changes that have come about in Rocksmith Plus are what I would like to kind of show off. Like, you can do a skill review, which shows you like various skills and chords when you're playing a song. As the difficulty increases, as it says, it'll show you up at the top there. Right up here, it'll show you your longest streak, the difficulty level that you're at for the overall song. We upped that section of the song to 50%, but the overall difficulty of the song is affected by how high a percentage of each section compared to the overall. and the accuracy and your mastery. I didn't really play particularly well there, or particularly hard, but this other little section, the practice, is great because, I mean, it doesn't have any recommendations now, but if I had played through a section and it noticed that in this section I missed a whole bunch of the notes, it will bring me back to that section and it will recommend starting at a slower tempo at 70% speed with 100% of the notes, or it'll recommend playing at 100% speed but with less of the notes. And then that's totally up to you. You can choose to do that yourself, which one you want to do, which is amazing. And then, as I said, the mastery points, it all progresses at a fantastic pace for whatever you want to be doing. And I really think that this game shines in that respect. You can totally customize like so much about the interface. Like you can have that phrase thing up the top be there or not. You see it here. This guy that I was pointing out, this fella up here, which shows you which notes you've missed in various sections across the whole song, because that progresses as you progress. The fingerprints to show you where to put your fingers, and the numbers are correlating to which of your fingers. So you see on the screen there, right here, it says number 1. That means your index finger. Number 3 is your ring finger. Number 4 is your pinky finger. So for that chord, you will be playing this. Isn't that nice? See, my middle finger isn't being used. And yeah, that was available in Rocksmith 2014, but there was a lot in Rocksmith 2014 that was useful for a system like this. So they tried to incorporate as much of the best parts of each of the games in their learning capacity, for learning how to play the guitar. Fret numbers, super useful for learning how to go up and down the necks, but you can turn them off if you want to kind of challenge yourself and not necessarily like focus too hard on like the movement of like where your hand is going, which is important, but you know, you can test yourself and you can even kind of meme on it if you like. You can play like learn Master of Puppets and then turn off all of the settings so that only the notes are coming at you. I don't know, whatever you want to do. Fret numbers, chord names, which is handy if you want to know what chords you're playing. Obviously, a lot of this is based on the Rocksmith stuff, but this is a cool little thing you can do. You can change from the traditional Rocksmith note way of showing you how the chords go, or the traditional, which is like the chord charts that you would see in various books and learning materials for the for like Dad's first guitar book, or like learn to play the Beatles. These style of chords will show up. I'll see if I can get up like what the actual chords look like on like what you'd expect, and then we can have a side-by-side comparison. Chord diagram. Okay. So those chord diagrams, that traditional style is basically, if I can get it, these guys. So you can compare, like this is what your guys will look like in the game versus this. And that is an option that you can choose because this game is trying to be there for whatever type of guitar learning that you want to do, which is fantastic. It used to be like they wanted to cut out their own section of people who are trying to learn and teach them a specific way. But now they've opened up to like so much broader an audience so that people who want to learn the kind of more traditional way through these kind of chords are perfectly able to, which is amazing. I think that's really, really cool of them to do. And then what's the other option? There's traditional, the note way, and then tabs. A set of chord diagrams are played in the chord chart arrangement, which is the like numbers on a bar for anybody who has ever played on tabs. It's basically that. It'll show you as the notes go by. I haven't actually given it a go yet, but that's an option that you can have as well. Chord counter, that's the thing. During the chord charts, it will tell you how many bars, or how many beats actually, until the chord changes for the fundamental chord of what is going on. The chord charts are an excellent resource for understanding that kind of stuff, and I'll probably swing back around to that just to repeat myself. I mentioned it earlier on in the stream, but I'm very happy to go back if anybody wants me to talk more about the chord charts. Streak counter, you know, if like note streaks have been a thing since, gosh, like it's like a combo. Like if you hit combos in fighting games, or if you hit streaks in Guitar Hero, or like so much of video games is doing the right thing so many times in a row, and you can just feel good about it. And then if you get all of the notes correct, you have a full streak and you have 100% accuracy. But if your streak resets at a specific point, you can see that point where it reset, and then you can go back to there. And Rocksmith has, in the riff repeater, it has little miss icons, I think, on the notes that you've missed. And so you can see which note you missed, and you can be sure to articulate that note a little bit better the next time that you play, which is awesome. A great tool. Like, so much of this is like stuff that has already been there and stuff that has been used before, but it's such a great combination in this little package that it's, oh man, it's just so good. It's just so much fun, and it's fun to look at. Like the soundscape stuff is, yeah, it's a little silly, but it is a video game. Like, it's a learning tool, and it's a visually interesting thing to have. You know, it keeps your attention, and the more notes you play right, the kind of brighter it is, and the louder you play, the more output your your pickups have, basically, the louder it'll be. But you can like adjust the floor of that, and you can do whatever you like with that. I can adjust the gain on my Focusrite if I need it to be a little bit louder, if it's not picking up necessarily some of the notes that I think it should be. And then on the Rocksmith cable, you can go into the calibration mode, which automatically does that for you. So you don't even have to worry about that if you have the Rocksmith cable. Song lyrics, I'd love to see more song lyrics. That's one thing that I think is lacking currently in Rocksmith Plus, but that's like such a tiny thing that it's not necessarily important to learning the guitar. A lot of the chord charts don't have song lyrics. A lot of the, like, none of them, well, I won't say none of them because I haven't played every single track. But, you know, if you're trying to be a singer-songwriter, practicing singing lyrics while playing guitar is actually so difficult. I have had such a hard time trying to play and sing at the same time. I've been practicing, and if you go to my previous streams, you see that I have a couple songs that I really like to pelt out while I'm playing. One of them is one of my most recent ones is a Coheed and Cambria song, Key Entity Extraction 5, which is Century the Defiant. That's one of my current songs that I absolutely love pelting out and playing at the same time. So song lyrics help with that. Being a singer-songwriter is important to a lot of people. So they can play with the chord chart, so that they can play the fundamentals, play the roots and the basics of the song, learn that kind of structure, and then because of how the chord chart seems to work, as long as you play the chord once, it'll register as a hit, but then you can do whatever else you want with the rhythm. So you can fiddle around with that rhythm and sing along with it. The hardest things to do when it comes to singing and playing is singing something that is different from the rhythm of what you are playing. So being able to go into a chord chart and just sit there on a chord. Being able to just sit there and strum a chord that it has told you to play and sing whatever lyrics are on the screen is a great way to learn to do the singer-songwriter thing. Get yourself an acoustic guitar, because Rocksmith Plus works with acoustic guitars, and just play. Like, the chord charts, I think, are a really powerful tool for people who want to, as I said, learn the fundamentals of the song, learn about song structure, and learn about chord names, chord types, and general overall structure. But it's also super handy for the singer-songwriters, the people who want to just be able to sit in a bar or sit on the side of the street. You can busk. You can just strum the open chords and be able to pelt out whatever song they want to learn, which is great. Tone names, less important. That just lets you know how to go into the tones, which I will show you in a section. Visual lag correction, that's just so that the notes that you hit are in time with whatever it is, and so that it recognizes the notes that you have actually missed, which is, you know, useful for some people. I haven't noticed anything wrong. I think the automatic setting that it has given me, for whatever reason, I don't know what it uses to calculate that, but, you know, it works perfectly fine for me, which is amazing. This, like, the whole thing is so cool. And also, one of my favorite things, what is it? Was it in-game options? PC settings? Graphics? And not audio, graphics. Where is it? Gameplay? No-way display? No. PC settings? I was already here. I can't remember, but you can change the color of your strings, which is super handy because I'm colorblind, and some of the color differences are very hard for me to discern. And previously in the beta, they didn't have the classic version of the colorblind mode, because in the colorblind mode they just whited out the blue string instead of having it yellowy, orange, maybe green. I can't tell, but having that little difference made it very easy for me to discern. And then in the beta, they didn't have that classic one, so I basically had to learn a whole new color combination. And so I asked them to change it, and they did. They want to make this as easy a game as possible for people to play, regardless of their ability, their disability, whatever is wrong. Because colorblindness is a disability. And they took my words seriously when I said that, like, I love the game, the new color options are fantastic, but they are not what I had. Here it is, the color presets. So you have the default. If you watch most other people on YouTube or on Twitch or wherever you see Rocksmith being played, they will often have just the default. And the G and B string there are almost impossible for me to discern. I can tell very slightly the difference, that they're slightly different. Like the G string is orange and the B string is kind of a greenish orange, but when it's coming at you, and with the flare that a lot of the game has, the kind of bloom that a lot of it gives off, very hard to discern. So they give you so many fantastic options to learn with a set of colors that are conducive to however you want to read them. And you can set the saturation of the colors to be able to discern much better the which string is being played. And they have so many amazing options. For that one, both E strings look very, very similar to me, but maybe those different options will be less clear. Or more clear to someone else, because I'm colorblind. And I am Dutan technically, but it's a very different kind of thing. So the Protan/Dutan 4 is the default, just with the B string changed to a different color. Perfect. That's what I need. Tritan is for people who are more deeply colorblind, and then balanced colors looks really great. I can definitely tell the difference between the top one and the bottom string, the E and the E, and the rest of them, super cool. If I was starting, I would probably go with that because it's relatively easily discernible, but I can also tell that like the E's are similar enough that I can be like, the E string and the E string are similar. Very cool. But yeah, I stick to the old Protan/Dutan 4 because that is what I learned on. That is how I learned how to play Rocksmith. And you can change the color saturation for whatever reason you might want to do that. I keep it at 100% because my eye's not very good at discerning that kind of thing. But incredible. Super, super cool. And yeah, another thing that they have, I think they had this in 2014, but a lot of people complained that it wasn't there, even though it was there. Even more clear now. And even in the intro, I think, when you start the game and they ask you what you want to do, basically, with how you want to set up your interface, like what you were looking at, this is part of it, which is a step for them in the right direction. You can have it so that it works like a classic, what's it called? The tabs. It's set up like tabs, which I don't know, like, Well, yeah, it does make sense that people who have red tabs would be able to read an inverted version much clearer. So it also, like, when you play in the standard, it's like you're looking through the back of your guitar. So, like, the top string is on top, bottom string is on the bottom. But if you have it in inverted, it's kind of reflected of you just looking straight down at your guitar, which makes perfect sense. If that works for you, that works for you. And that is an important part of anybody's experience, making sure that their interface works the best for them. And I think Rocksmith does a great job of facilitating everybody being able to do whatever the hell they want to do. Super cool. I play standard, so I'm not going to set it to inverted. You can set your handedness right and left, which is super cool. You can have right inverted or left normal. Standard, not normal. Their usual expectation. Instrument type, you can play bass and you can play guitar. People have been saying that there might be keyboards eventually, which is why a lot of the videos have people being like, "Oh, my keyboard skills have been improving." I haven't heard anything about that, and I was in the beta, and I'm under NDA, but I just haven't heard anything. It's not an NDA if I haven't, like, if I don't have information to share that is insider information, like, I haven't heard anything. And then they have obviously a whole bunch of stuff to, like, show you how to go about the game. Hey, look, it's my remote. Cancel subscription if you want to rage quit the game and waste your money. Although I'm sure they would have some kind of refund policy for people who really don't think that it's for them. But yeah, this is an incredibly powerful learning tool for people who want to learn how to play guitar well and who want to be able to do it consistently. Because a lot of people, when they play, they might not necessarily play with a technique that is conducive to playing for a long time. Like the health stuff, health and wellness, the stretches that you can do. There's going to be subtitles here. Unfortunately, I don't have audio. Natasha is one of the primary hosts, which is an important, very, very handy, which is never a good sign. As you push yourself to learn more difficult music, you may notice that your fingers become more tender and that you're starting to hold more tension in your neck and shoulders. That's pretty common, especially when you're first starting out. But that tension can cause discomfort, which can then slow your progress, which is what I was talking about much earlier. In some cases, it can also lead to injury, so it's definitely something that you want to address early. Here are some strategies we use at Rocksmith Plus to help maintain our health and wellness. And there's music playing. I take a break every 30 to 60 minutes, not just pause and just sit there. It's more beneficial if you stand up, stretch, and move around, let your muscles reset. Like, that's so important to anybody who wants to play guitar professionally or for a long time. Make sure you're breathing and relaxed as you play, especially during difficult sections. Holding your breath or playing with tension will not only put you at greater risk for injury, those things will also make it harder to play rhythms accurately. Playing with tension in general will make your performance worse. Slow practice is a great strategy for learning to relax while you play. Don't try to fight your way through difficult sections by brute force. That's when you need to relax the most. Slow down and give yourself enough time to play the right notes and to pay attention to your breathing and posture. Super important stuff. Riff Repeater is a great tool for this. While you're in Riff Repeater, try practicing your favorite song at half speed. Really pay attention to every note you play, not just what the note is, but how you're playing it. Try to be mindful of your body and what tension it's holding as you play. We've got even more tips and tricks for maintaining wellness as a guitarist coming in future videos. So until then, stay healthy. Thanks for watching. So that's a really rudimentary look at ways that you can improve your technique, your posture, and your attention to your physical body so that you don't hurt yourself, so that you can play for longer, so that you can improve almost everything about your playing. Like, for example, I've been streaming for about an hour and a half. So what I'm going to do, I have this set up because I like to pay attention to my health and wellness. On my stream, I have a table that rises with me. So that I can go from sitting to standing. Which I think is a very important part of like staying healthy and being able to play guitar to a level that, you know, is conducive to whatever you want to do. A lot of people have a standing up setup because it's healthier. Sitting, I hear, is just generally not a good thing these days. I've heard multiple people say that sitting is killing you, which, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, like Rocksmith has so much in it that is just about playing guitar and being able to continue to play guitar. Like, so fantastic. Like, really important stuff. And then the Rocksmith inbox, as I mentioned earlier, is about like rudimentary questions about how the guitar works, and then basically anything that you want to pay attention to, like outside of what is immediately available. It's a more community-based segment, as far as I can tell. I'm not sure exactly how to interact with it yet, but you know, it's like honestly like super handy to know that Ubisoft and the team in San Francisco are trying to bring the community into the game, because Rocksmith 2014 was a very self-contained game and people would always have the same questions. They would ask, do I have to play with a Rocksmith cable? You don't anymore. And then like even as rudimentary as how and when to stop a note, you know, like that's important for technique, for playing a song and making it sound the way that it should sound. And like for those kind of questions that come to people, or people who are really trying to think through their best way to learn how to play guitar, that's important to have the resources available through Ubisoft, so they're official and they are researched and will be well-rounded and for everyone, basically, so that you know that it is a high-quality product that won't lead you astray. It won't give you necessarily bad information that could hurt your playing or hurt like any part of what you're doing. Like, they're fantastic. Hi, Doug. Yeah, meet Doug. How's it going, Doug? Not Douglas Adams. He's the community manager for Ubisoft San Francisco. Super cool dude. He used to be on the Rocksmith live streams. Other than the videos, what does Rocksmith Plus have that Rocksmith 2014 didn't? So Rocksmith 2014 didn't have these things called chord charts, and I went over these a little bit ago, but I will go back into it in a similar kind of vein, while also touching on the points. So bear with me. There are a couple different things. I'm going to go into each of them in a little bit of detail. Sorry you're late. Not a bother at all. You're absolutely fine. I expected that people would be busy and maybe only see the notifications or whatever. So the chord charts are a very helpful little part of this game. So if we wanted to see the chord charts, okay, so there it is. So I don't have audio, unfortunately, but what the chord chart does, you don't necessarily need to fully, like, you don't need to hear what's going on to understand the kind of weight of what this is. So chord charts are just very, very basic breakdowns of songs. So the song is in B flat, and it shows you what is underneath what is being played, basically. So this is a tool for learning songwriting, essentially. Like, this is what this song sounds like at its most rudimentary. There's a lot more distortion going on. There's a lot more other stuff going on. But when you're trying to demystify how somebody, oh, this is an incredible song, how did they come up with this? This tool, the chord charts, are a fantastic way to demystify that. They show you how it all comes together. 3, 7, 1. You don't even necessarily have to know, like, know the 1, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, you know? Just seeing like how it's all put together is an incredibly powerful tool that has been introduced in Rocksmith Plus. And this VOD is going to be available on my channel, hopefully forever, you know. If not, I'll rip it down and I'll put it up on YouTube and I can share it there. But that is one of the things that is available. It's a great tool for understanding like the necessary like the simplicity of songs. You can hear a song and think, oh, there's so many notes going on, there's so much like that song, the actual riff, if you play the thing, it's in an open tuning, so I won't be able to play it very well, but it goes or something like that. But the the chord chart breaks it down, removes a lot of the rhythm playing, and allows you the freedom to see what chords are underneath it, demystify the writing process, and be able to understand a song on a more fundamental level, so that if you want to write your own music, you could basically rip whatever chords are being played under whatever song that you're learning and apply them to whatever you want to write. So incredibly powerful for singer-songwriters, songwriters in general, people who want to be able to play around a fire, a campfire. I know that's a lot of stuff that people want to do, all that kind of cool stuff. Another thing that they have is the note-by-note version of Riff Repeater, which is another really, really powerful tool. There are like more coming to my knowledge of like things in the game that are like other tools that are available, but there's already so much here that it's just like steps in the right direction, like baby steps or what have you. And the note-by-note section is incredible. It'll stop. It won't continue playing until I hit the note. And hand on my heart, honestly, it sounds not great while you're playing it, but that's not the point of this. Rocksmith Plus is about learning how to play the guitar. It is very cool, I agree. So when I play the note, hopefully, it progresses it. It's a little slow, it's a little clunky. But it's not necessarily about being able to play this perfectly. It's about being able to see what notes are coming so that you can be prepared for them, so that you can practice slowly at your own pace, not even necessarily to a specific percentage speed or anything like that. You can see the note that you have to play first. You can see the next notes that you have to play all the way up the chart, so that it's super handy. Not the perfect tool, because the note input on it seems to be a slightly different system to the entire rest of the game, because if I go in and I turn off note by note, like it picks up the notes that I play like pretty darn well. Like it says I missed 3 there, but that was because I kind of fucked up a little bit, you know? But the note by note is a great new tool. Super cool. Different options than having the spam loop and riff repeater. I mean, that is kind of, I presume, what the thought behind it was. Because, yeah, riff repeater is an incredible tool for repeating section after section and then going back. But it can be a little frustrating, even if, like, you're at the very lowest speed. Some of the more complicated songs are really, really hard to keep up with. Like, even for someone advanced, like playing something by Paul Gilbert, which he has charts in Rocksmith, which I thought was super cool. A couple of his, one full album and then a couple of his live songs are available, and he's a fucking shredder. Like I will be so glad to finally be able to like note by note breakdown, because in Rocksmith 2014 I had the charts, but I wasn't able to even keep up with it or have the kind of attention span almost to learn every note. And like they said in the health and wellness stuff earlier, it's important to be like conscious of the notes that you play, because when you don't know what's coming next, that's when the tension creeps in, when you start like just desperately trying to get to the notes. So when you're playing note by note, that releases that tension and allows you to relax again, to see the note, to play the note, and then progress, which is excellent. Yeah. So note by note is a new thing in Riff Repeater. Riff Repeater is very much the same. I think there might be subtle differences in it regarding the like necessary structure of how it actually goes about, like breaking down each little section. But yeah. And now also in Rocksmith Plus, you don't have to buy the exercises pack. They all come as standard, which are a fantastic tool for warming up and warming down. They have the videos to show you how to stretch, which you can do before. And then you have the exercises, which are all free when you have the game, just like every other song that is available in Rocksmith Plus. And they're fantastic. The interface is really cool. Gosh, what else? I don't have a list. This is kind of as I go. You can customize the interface, which is what I was talking about right before you joined the chat there. Marshall, Mr. Shallow Test, I think. Couldn't quite catch that. But, you know, the interface being whatever you want it to be is pretty important. You can turn on and off the phrase banner, which is a great indicator of how to play whatever you're trying to do. As someone who has over 5,000 hours in Rocksmith 2014, I do wish they put in Legacy Highway mode. So it's much different, especially with strumming. Legacy Highway mode. How do you mean by that? Like you want it to be very, very similar to the original Rocksmith or the 2014? Legacy Highway. Like what's different between the current Highway and the old Highway? They're rudimentarily similar enough that I haven't had any issue with playing any of the songs. And for anybody who's joined again, I don't have audio set up for my stream, unfortunately. I have all of what I thought would work, because I stream Rocksmith, and I stream other video games, which all works perfectly. But unfortunately, Rocksmith Plus seems to have an audio exclusivity issue, so anything that I play won't be heard through the game. But so as a learning tool, the skill profile and the song progress is a huge tool for people who are trying to learn and progress in Rocksmith Plus, which is what it really is all about. It is partially gamifying learning, but it's also such a powerful tool to be able to recognize your shortcomings in your playing style. Because like in previous Rocksmiths, I never actually played the original Rocksmith, but I don't think they ever had anything like this, where they track your progress on each specific aspect of playing through Rocksmith and playing through the charts, and they'll give you a rating. The more you play, the more this will fill up, and the better it'll recognize how you are doing, because I haven't played any unpitched slides and not any tremolos apparently, which, you know, surprising, but sure, I don't remember playing any. And there's been no tapping, or any tapping that I have played I have missed, which is, you know, reasonable, because the tappy tap ones are very fast, but you can break them down. You can go note by note, which is fantastic. And then the song progression, you can see your actual progression through each song. I've only played most of them once. This one is currently one of my favorites, the No Fear No More. Yeah, it is, like, honestly, so much about this is really cool if you look at it from the perspective of somebody who is trying to learn the guitar, not necessarily learn specific songs or necessarily learn like how to read the chart. Because sight reading is a very important part of music in many different aspects. A lot of professional musicians have learned how to sight read sheet music and learn how to sight read various chord charts. And to be able to access that and being able to sight read Rocksmith is a skill in itself. It's a different system to what most other guitarists will have kind of learnt with, but it is a skill into itself. But this is more focused on trying to teach you how to progress wherever you come from. So if you start from an absolute beginner, you hit every single note in a song, this little progression thing here, where it levels you up as the weeks go by and unlocks more stuff, which is a really cool little thing, because in Rocksmith 2014, there was a very limited supply of achievements and customizable things that you could get, whereas now they have a rewards thing for like so many different portions of the game. Like this, to my knowledge, will keep going almost indefinitely. I'm sure this is not a difficult thing for them to do, but it's a cool little badge of honor that you can wear as you progress through the game. And the more you play, obviously, the more stuff you get. It'll unlock every week so that your progression can't be so accelerated, or you can't just unlock everything in one go and then never play the game again. You can unlock small portions as you go along. And it's just great. Rocksmith Battle Pass, yeah, unlocking various visuals, which is, you know, it's like, it's not important to a certain extent. It's not very like theory heavy, or it's not really about like learning how to play the guitar necessarily, but this is like a fun part of it. It's a customizable section that allows you to like customize your interface so that it's more comfortable and that you're displaying something that you're proud of, even if you don't stream at all. Like if you don't do any streaming and you're just doing this by yourself, you can go in and you can just like customize your own stuff just for yourself. Like you can do all this cool stuff, you know, just for you. You can have the weirdest looking guitar and no one will judge you. But if you have like the rarest thing in every week's progression, then people will be like, ooh. How do you feel about the current song choices for veterans? So for veterans, it's pretty broad. So, gosh, yeah. So I have mine currently set to the beginner because I was trying to show off a specific thing. But now that I'm up here, it'll display some more difficult songs immediately. There are a very significant number of tracks in here that are like difficult to play for anybody. You know, if you go into a song knowing how to play it, then you'll play it, you know? But if you go into a song that you've never heard before, even if it's like something by this guy, Madion, like he's one of the guys that has produced one of the songs that is one of my favorites to learn. This one here, No Fear No More. But like the chord changes in it are relatively repetitive and relatively, like once you get them down, it's not hard. But that's what practicing is. For a veteran guitar player, if they encounter something that they haven't played before or that they're not familiar with, like a lot of people who will have played the Rocksmith games will know how to play Metallica or like the stuff that you want to learn. Learning songs from other genres is advancing you in your ability to play guitar. It's not advancing you in your ability to play the stuff that you already know. It's more about broadening your abilities in these songs, in like a whole bunch of different stuff. Like there are, like, honestly, a lot of things that I had never heard of. Hello, Kayabe 25, is that right? Or Kiabe. But there's a whole bunch. You can browse by the difficulty. You can go all the way up to the expert immediately, and you can play you can play Anticipating by Britney Spears. I've never played it before, I don't think. But we can see what the chart looks like. Like I won't play along, but for somebody who is advanced, like Actually, no, I will. You won't be able to hear it, unfortunately, because I don't have the audio set up. But like, that's not an easy thing to play. It's a relatively simple progression-wise. It's very obviously just a... I think it's a either a major or a minor. It sounds a bit more major to me. But that's a cool little riff. You know, it's like not... Like, this is maybe not a challenge for an expert. But we can see, like there is a lot going on, you know? Like, that's... Like, you wouldn't have necessarily played that. And even for people who want to play the old stuff, like, that is a... I'm Japanese Rocksmith player. Oh, well, welcome. It looks like a lot of the sections are the same thing over and over again. But, you know, that's every song ever, basically. And yeah, maybe you don't want to listen to Britney Spears, but, you know, being able to understand what makes a incredibly popular artist song, this is demystifying that. It, again, is breaking down the boundaries between the, like, the Max, whatever his name, Max Mosley, Max, whatever, whoever the dude that did a lot of writing for a lot of pop music. Like, this is just what he did. He came up with this kind of stuff and then has his process for doing that. So if I go into the chord chart for this song, okay, there isn't one, but, like, not difficult. I'm not sure which of these are, like, actual hard songs to play. I know Be Careful with a Fool is a hard one, but that's like blues difficult because it's quite improvisational. And then there's a shit ton of opeth, which is really cool, and there's a lot of, like, metal stuff, which tends to be a bit harder, but there's also the more difficult kind of jazzy stuff. It's like broadening your horizons, basically, to be able to, like, play the stuff that you can't yet, which is what I think the expert parts of this game are for. Because if you're an expert guitar player, if you're an expert at playing one song, sure, you're an expert at playing that one song, but you're not an expert at playing the guitar, which is what this feels like it's promoting. It's promoting literacy in music for guitarists, while also giving people a relatively simple, very clear progression in how to become better at playing guitar. Lol. What do we got? But yeah, you know, I haven't been through the whole thing, and I don't know how to play every single one of those songs, and I couldn't tell you which ones are the easiest. But I know that the jazz ones tended to be pretty tricky. Ooh, Snarky Puppy. Dope. Okay, it's a chord chart. Let's see what a Snarky Puppy chord chart looks like. You know, like, that's kind of what this is all about. Like, Snarky Puppy is a famous LA-based jazz kind of funk band, or kind of group. I don't know what kind of consistency they have with everything that they do. But you can see up at the top that there's a lot of different sections in this already. And then you see the countdown there. You can... So you can play along with what you're hearing. Once I get the audio sorted, then... Like, a Snarky Puppy song is this simple. Like, those 3 chords that we're seeing is the intro to a Snarky Puppy song. Which is amazing. How many of those are just chord charts? A relatively significant amount for now, it seems. That is one thing. Because it's so early in the release, a lot of stuff is just the chord charts so far. They're kind of relying on the song availability to them initially. There is a huge amount of lead tracks and a good portion of the bass tracks available as well. I'd imagine this one has a bass track in it. But yeah, there's like so much to everything. So is the community going to chart them, or is Ubi? I don't know for sure, but my assumption would be that they've put basically a huge portion of what they have available to the public out there so that people can play the songs, which will be recorded through Ubisoft Connect. They'll see which ones are being played by people the most, and then they'll be able to know which songs people want the professional standard charts for, and also, you know, get a sense of the like types of music that people want to be playing through this app, which is super cool. And then once people are charting, then I've seen that they're going to be having featured charts. So if you become somebody who charts songs, they might even promote your chart as an official chart or an officially recognized chart. Because there are official charts out there. Obviously, they're the ones that are created by Ubisoft, which are professionally done by the note trackers, who are still employed, to my knowledge, in the Ubisoft SF. But yeah, that's my reading on how it'll probably go with my, you know, relatively bare bones knowledge. But being always on the internet means that they can collect that data about what is happening with how people are playing, how many people are playing what, the kind of songs that people want to know. I mean, without some of the charts there, some people might be shying away from it. But if people want to know the chord charts, which I think are AI generated and then guided slightly by some overarching person who knows what they're listening to, that's a big part of it. Like, so much of it is like, it's going to progress pretty quickly, I think. I'd imagine they will invest very, very heavily in making this game what people expect of it. You know, like they're going, like the songs are going to appear. Like the songs that people are clamoring about will probably show up at some point. Like they got Master of Puppets, because yeah, they're licensing that, Metallica are licensing that song out to basically everybody at this point. Like they have Musician, and now it's going to be in Rocksmith Plus as well, which is, you know, cool. Maybe they're loosening their grip on their rights to it, or they're just being more public with that kind of stuff, which is great for people who want to learn that stuff in an official capacity with a professionally produced chart, so that you know what you're playing is exactly what's going on, because, you know, all that kind of stuff. Can you show filters option? So this thing, or the, where did I have that other thing? Where did the browse by difficulty? Like, those are the kind of breakdowns that you can have currently. I'm not fully versed in it, so somebody who is much more familiar with it could definitely show you a little more, but I'm relatively sure I have a very significant grasp on pretty much everything that's going on. Go into a genre and hit filter. Alrighty, rock. Filters. So we can go by arrangement. So we can, so we can see which ones have lead, rhythm, and chord charts. We can go by tuning, including a capo, the difficulty, which is your beginner through expert again. You can go through your genre. Okay, so this page basically is like a miniature version of the filter page with some steps taken out. Genre, creator, I guess that's going to be, ooh, gosh. Okay, so community ones, you can go in and see which ones have actually been produced by the professional. Go into the metal and hit lead. Absolutely. I'm kind of curious myself. Filters. Arrangement, lead. So 51 songs in metal so far. There's a lot of Mudvayne and Opeth and Hysteria. Let's go by artist, because that's more telling of the kind of breadth of songs that they have. So Alice Cooper, one song by Amon Amarth, Arch Enemy, Harvard Saint, Autograph, a lot of Bloodbath. I remember that from the beta. Candlemas, one song, a couple of songs by Death, Fuel. So not a tone drone just yet. Not a ton done. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not a huge amount, but as everybody kind of has seen, their focus is less on genre specific and more about showing people a breadth of what they can play. So we have a shit ton of Mudvayne and a shit ton of Opeth, which are two very solid bands. But yeah, pretty cool. Like I don't know if I've played a couple of these songs since the beta came out. Like I played Poison and I played a couple of the Bloodbath songs here and there, but you know, it's pretty cool. Lots of options. Thank you for asking me to do that, because now I know how to do that. Can you sort a Japanese song? I do wonder if we can arrange by I'd imagine that would be regional. I don't know if it'll go all the way down to area produced. It doesn't seem like it will. Creator, all status, unofficial, official. Okay. Creator, Ubisoft. Well, there are a couple of Japanese songs that I have seen show up in here. They don't have them broken down by country yet, unfortunately. Kiabe25, had to read your thing there. A lot of what I have seen from the Japanese stuff has been kind of more poppy for sure, but there's such a huge amount. There's 883 songs available from regional music, which would be cool if we could break it down even further. I wonder if we can search Japanese. Okay, so it's not going to allow us to break it down that much, unfortunately. But yeah, there are a good portion of songs from all over the place. Is this a good first time chatter message? No, it's terrible. Get out of my chat right now. I hate you. You're not allowed here. Hello, abandoned boxcar. First time chatter. Wow. Damn, I knew it. Yeah, if my mods were here, I'd ask them to ban you. Although, actually, one of them might be, so don't. Actually. Hello again, abandoned boxcar. So, unfortunately, for people who are just joining, including my good friend Abandoned Boxcar, I haven't got the audio of the game running through OBS yet, unfortunately. So, it's been mostly a visual and educational walkthrough of the features that are now available in Rocksmith Plus that are separate from Rocksmith 2014. Ultimately, the whole thing has been about how Rocksmith Plus is more about learning the guitar and the bass to a more broad ability. So you can start as an expert, and you can go in and look at their expert songs and see what they have available to you. You can learn Britney Spears as an expert, which is a nice little major pentatonic scale. You can also go and learn Ukrainian national anthem. Oh, you can learn the Ukrainian national anthem. Well, at the very least, from my perspective, they have a very solid foundation with new tech to move forward. Totally. Yeah, and I think that this is going to be progressively developed further and further into like what they want from it and what people want from it, because it's going to be so community driven through the Rocksmith inbox, which is a community kind of outreach thing, and people's using the different charts so that information will be sent to them and they'll be able to see what people are playing. They're going to develop it in the direction that people use it. So the people who are complaining and not joining up because they think that it's a waste of time, it's terrible, the song list is shit. People who go in expecting that will, or who don't go into it because that's not what it is right now, will have forever to complain about it because they won't be involved in its future development. So if you want it to be developed in a specific direction, get involved in the community. Talk to the devs. Like, reach out through the Rocksmith inbox and through Ubisoft Connect stuff. Like, there's so much to it that is yet to be developed. Like, yeah, the song list is going to grow, and everybody knows that. For beginners, this version is so much better. Totally. That's 100% what I think this is about. Like, it's about getting people onto the platform so that people can start learning guitar. And yeah, you can be like, oh, they're just trying to target like newbies and new players so they can make money off them. But I mean, it is a business. Like, if you go to a guitar teacher, they'll ask you to pay them. If you go to YouTube, you have to watch ads. So the things that have the least barrier to resistance are the things that are going to prevail. So Ubisoft with Rocksmith Plus have their subscription model, which some people are a little up in arms about. I just paid for a year. You talked me into it. Oh, very cool. I wonder if Ubisoft will pay me a cut. Well, that's amazing. Super cool. Super glad for you. I hope that this expose has been, you know, enough that you feel like it's worth it. I also got a year. I was in the beta, so I had access to it, and I had a couple of benefits that came from that. But I really, honestly, would pay full price. I'd pay month by month because, I mean, I don't know, maybe because I have the capacity, I would pay for a year. And if I didn't, I would probably still pay month on, month off as I was able to, because I work in the film industry when I'm not streaming. So, like, I work insane hours when I am working, but then when I'm not working, I can pay for a month here and there, and then that's totally fine. Like, I don't have to pay a full price for a full, like, AAA standard game about learning guitar, which is, like, some of the coolest shit ever, you know? But, yeah, I'm just so glad that this kind of thing exists. Like, I have been promoting Rocksmith 2014 to people who will listen. Like I learned how to play guitar from when I was 16. And then I have a video on my YouTube that I was used to share for their Rocksmith 5th anniversary thing that I won, the Slims contest. I have a video on there explaining what my experience was, where it was basically stifled intermediate. I was learning off of a couple of tab charts and stuff like that. And then when I got into Rocksmith, it broadened my horizons. But I was still kind of, like, I didn't want to spend the money on songs that, you know, I wasn't sure that I was going to enjoy. So that limiting factor being removed means that I can just broaden my horizons in my musical ability just by having this. Like, I would never have gotten a Britney Spears song pack or Gardanelia. Kureha Itoshiuta. Like, that's not something that I ever would have got. Although I did at one point go through a huge amount of the CDLC and like click on each of them and then go to like a YouTube video and listen to them. And a couple of them were really cool that I had listened to. But even still, like the limitation of Gardanelia. Gardanelia. Super cool song. That was a really fun song. I played it a couple times through, and the lead line on it it's ripper. It's super cool, and it is a tricky song to play. Like, it's not metal, it's not rock and roll, it's not like blues. It's very, very different, but it is so cool. Like, and I would never, well, maybe not never, but I wouldn't have jumped at the opportunity as Kiabe25 might have. I can never remember your name. Why isn't that sticking with me? Kiabe. Like, unfortunately, I don't have the audio, but I'll show you. I'll do an example of a more advanced song that isn't metal. It's not metal. I'll play the chart so you can see how difficult it is. A repetition of the same phrase. Like, this section here sounds like it's a shamisen. As Japanese anime song Unit produces a lot of them, does she? Or they. I don't know who they are. Like, the current part, that lead part is a shamisen, and then we get to a more vocal part. So I'll show you. For anybody who doesn't know Gardanelia, which I was not one of the people who knew about them, I'll show you. I'll go into it. I'll go onto YouTube and I'll pull up the example. Yeah. Kiabe. And I'm sure though, like if stuff like this is promoted and is played by a lot of people, they will definitely promote that kind of stuff and, you know, use that. They will listen to the people who play the games and listen to see what they play. Okay. All right. So hush, please. Okay. So this is the song that was just being played. Like that's a cool little riff in itself, and it's repeated. And then we have that part is what that lead line is, which is not like anything that I had ever played, because it's played on, I can't remember the name of the specific instrument that it is. It's not the shamisen. The shamisen is different. And then they'll have simpler sections where that like repeated note was coming in. But like I would never play something like that, or I would never expect something like that to be as cool as it is. So yeah, the part isn't necessarily wasn't recorded with a guitar, but when you can play something like that on the guitar, that broadens your ability, and your whole musical world is expanded if you wanted to get really deep with it. But it's like this, there's so much to this that is just promoting new learning and promoting like new skills and new ways to play, so the people aren't just like clones of the people that they play all the time. Like being able to go into, let's see what beginner songs there are. Let's go into rock. Let's learn some beginner rock songs. Okay, yeah. Difficulty, basic. It doesn't even say beginner. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of options here. Let's filter to actual lead parts as well. So we have songs that are leads that are relatively basic. Amazing Grace, I'm surprised to see is there. But even something like that is, like, if you start at the bottom, very, very easy, becomes more difficult as you go. So, let's see. The Funeral March for Jacques. I don't know. I don't know most of these songs. Let's see. Honoluchi Boogie by Mott the Hoople. I don't know this song, but we'll see what the chart looks like. I know you guys can't see, and I apologize again. I haven't been able to get Rocksmith Plus running through my OBS for some reason. It works otherwise. I wouldn't consider that to be basic at all. So maybe even like various people will be able to inform. Maybe there will be some way to, like, maybe they'll improve their recognition for what a beginner song is versus what a more difficult song is. Like, this isn't hugely complicated, but you can see there's progressions. They're going between chords and single note lines. And it seems, actually relatively easy. Only that intro section seemed like it was beyond the ability of somebody who's kind of starting. And then again, sounds like you're taking a break. Oh, that's a new feature. I didn't even know they had that. So there you go. Evening. Good metal songs. Friendly. There are a couple, but unfortunately I don't have the audio able to play through my OBS, so I can't stream with audio. So this stream is basically an expose of the features in Rocksmith Plus that are new to Rocksmith Plus that weren't in Rocksmith 2014 or the previous one. And it's more about what this game is about, which is about learning how to play the guitar. Not necessarily learning specifically how to play like via the songs that you might want to, which is a very reasonable thing to want to do, and you are perfectly able to do that with Rocksmith 2014. That game still exists, but this is more about learning how to play. But as I just discovered, thanks to our delightful chatter Marshmallow test, okay, we know how to go into the filters arrangements, we have all of our leads, and then we can arrange, let's just have all of them. There isn't a huge selection of metal yet, but the only reason that they will expand the metal selection is if people play. People go in and learn these parts, and we see that, you know, there's a good portion of stuff. A lot of it is kind of by the same bands, but there are lots of individual songs as well. And we can arrange by artist name, which it doesn't seem to be doing for some reason. Let's go song title. Whoops. And then artist name again. Do they have a Mac client? I'm not sure yet. I'm sure that's on the cards. I actually have a Mac, and I played a lot of Rocksmith 2014 on a Mac. I just happen to have recently gotten a PC for streaming other video games. But maybe the next time when I stream, I'll check if the Mac client is up or if it's available at all, or I can do a little bit more research on that and see what the story is there. But yeah, I played on Mac, so I would love to see that. Actually, how's Rocksmith 2014 on the Mac? Do you recommend it? Absolutely, I do. Rocksmith 2014 on the Mac is immaculate. It's perfect. There's the CDLC that you can get, the custom DLC through Customs Forge, is a more limited selection unless you can download the conversion software, which I use Rocksmith, which is a whole process of things that you need to do to get it to work. But once you get it working, it's flawless and everything just works perfectly. You've thought about getting it. I've been learning on Musician, but they don't have many songs. Right. So Rocksmith 2014 has a huge amount of official DLC, which is the easiest way to play the game. If you want to just play the game, scroll through the list of stuff that they have for official DLC, and then you can learn all the way through that. But there's also a very, very active custom DLC community through a website called Customs Forge, which has basically every song that you could ever want to play. And they're constantly renewing it with more stuff. So 100% recommend Rocksmith 2014 for anybody who is considering that over this, especially if they have the Mac, because the Mac, flawless. I have a huge amount of CDLC on my Mac, and I have most of my hours played through my Mac. I wonder actually how many hours I do have on Rocksmith 2014. Rocksmith. Yeah, so just over 1,500 hours. So there you go. Yeah, you're welcome. That's kind of what this stream is about. I want to show the aspects of this game because unfortunately you can't hear them. But I think that is actually less important, and I'm glad that I didn't end the stream early because all the things about this game that are interesting can just be shown off here. It's kind of less interesting to just watch me play a song. Sorry for all the questions about 2014. None at all. You only had 2. You can ask as many questions as you like. That's what this stream is about, you know? And I'm very, very, very happy to promote any of the Rocksmith games. And 2014 was my game. It was the one that got me to fly over to California. So, big fan. And I played on Mac my entire life until I came over here to America to live permanently when I got myself a PC. Which made things a little bit easier, yeah, but, you know, it only took a couple steps, and a lot of the stuff that is available is on the Customs Forge website. There are, like, guides to how to do basically everything step by step, and it all works eventually. So how do you get it on the Mac? On Steam, or I got the DVD? I got it through Steam, which, you know, that's just very, very convenient, and it all works the same, to my knowledge. You don't have to upload anything or download anything onto any other discs. You can just insert custom DLCs into the DLC folder, or you just buy it on Steam and then download your actual DLC and then just play that. Like, it's fantastic. Like, 2014 is not going anywhere to my knowledge, and they have stopped producing DLC for it, but, you know, the custom DLC community is still going. Yeah. Whew. I'll come back to this as a fun little detail. Okay, I have an interface. That works fine, right? So regarding the interface, with 2014, there is a specific type of software that you would have to get if you wanted to make it work on your interface. But again, that's all on Customs Forge. If you go to that website, CUSTOMSFORGE, just search that on Google and it'll bring you straight to it. It's a fantastic community. And it's an RS ASIO controller, so that you can tell your computer that your interface is a Rocksmith cable, basically. You'll need to adjust the gain and stuff manually, because the cable does that. The cable is the easiest way and probably the best way to play, but it can get a little pricey. I've had mine for, gosh, how long have I had it for? For about 6 years, and it works perfectly with my Mac. Unfortunately, it doesn't work with my PC, but you know, that's the way. But Rocksmith Plus gets around that by being really fucking cool, because audio, how do I do it? Where was it? Audio input output. You can use the real-time cable, you can use the app, or you can use your own interface, which is excellent. Mine just broke. Impossible to find another one here in Brazil. Oh, I'm so sorry. I think they do. So I just had to use user interface. Yeah, I mean, it works. It's not as good as the Rocksmith cable, because it doesn't have the kind of hardware and software kind of loaded onto the whatever is going on with it. So there's a little bit of adjusting when you get the RS ASIO, but it works totally fine. But they do break, unfortunately, and you can't like replace specific parts unless you know how to do that shit. Then let me know. I'd love to get in contact. Eater Santana, I appreciate you following me there. I saw that come in. You're from Brazil too. Yeah, Brazilians are great. I used to live in Ireland, so we had a lot of Brazilian tourists and people who came over to study. So there were a huge amount of Brazilians, and they were absolute golden people. They're fantastic. Mute the strings with your hand. What am I doing? Oh, okay. But yeah, Rocksmith Plus gets around that. You can use the real-time cable, or you can use the other interface. It says it's beta, but it works absolutely perfectly. Like, I haven't had any issue with picking it up, except when I went to go play on stream, unfortunately. So you go into interface and you can choose from here, whichever one you want. I have the ASIO controller thing, which is how you will be able to play through Rocksmith 2014 with the interface. But, you know, so much about it is just like so helpful with just making you be able to play with whatever you have. Like whatever you have, you will be able to play with Rocksmith. If you have a phone, which you have a computer or a phone, which is how you are watching Twitch, which means you're probably good. You can play Rocksmith without any input, and it'll show you the charts. You won't be able to pick up your signal, so it won't be able to give you your progression, but you can still totally just have the song play in the background, and you can learn the interface. And it's not ideal, but it works. If you learn the interface and learn how to play with it, then you know you're basically playing Rocksmith. You just don't get as much feedback, but it's just great. It's fantastic. I love it. I love this game. Can you tell I'm a big fan? But yes, the song list will be updated, I presume, pretty frequently. Their plan is to have millions of songs, so no one in any reasonable amount of time will be able to play everything. My current conclusion, I think I'll get the 2014 first. Very reasonable. And it's still available on Steam. It's very frequently on sale in the Steam sales, so I'd recommend getting it then if you can, because, you know, if you can save a couple of bucks here and there, totally. But if you really want to play Rocksmith right now, it's phenomenal. I absolutely love the game, and I recommend it to anybody who wants to improve their guitar playing or just learn some specific songs. Like, it's really helped me come a huge distance with my guitar playing. Like, I didn't play in a band before I played Rocksmith, and then I learned a bunch of songs and learned that, like, I was actually really able to play other songs. So I joined bands, and now I'm in a couple of them. You have the 2014, and it's awesome indeed. Excellent. Love that. But yeah, Rocksmith Plus has these features, the kind of educational side of it, which I think is like one of its shining features, especially for beginners or even people who are not beginners but never quite had a teacher to guide them through best practices. Because like there's practice and there's like repeating things, but best practice is when you are playing the guitar in a way that is not damaging to you. Because if you play Rocksmith and you have a million notes coming at you all at once, like at 100 miles an hour, you're going to tense up and you're going to be desperately trying to hit as many notes as you can, or you're going to have a bunch of chord changes coming in and you won't know how specifically to do that. But with these little videos, they give you little exercises that you can do and little ways to pay attention to like your posture. Your posture is important. You should sit up straight. If you feel tension in your shoulders from playing for more than like 30 minutes, then your posture's a little bit off. A funny thing, for some reason, there are a considerable number of Brazilian songs in the Rocksmith Plus set list, and 2014 had none natively. Well, they probably recognized that they had a very broad Brazilian audience, and so like they took that information and ran with it. They now have whatever stuff like it comes from there, which is like, I don't think they have a Spanish mode yet, but they have a French dude who speaks all of his educational content through French, and it all has subtitles in English. You set your language preferences in the initial setup. I'm sure, absolutely sure, that because they recognize the larger audience that they have in Brazil, that they have in Portuguese and Spanish and a whole bunch of native stuff to wherever you're from. Does it have lessons for music theory, like scales, harmony, and so on? So it doesn't yet, to my knowledge, but one of the best things that I have found that it has, that is along that kind of way, is the exercises. The exercises are a great way to like loosen up your fingers and be able to make the movements that you would need for the more advanced music theory stuff. But there's kind of a passive learning that happens with a lot of the stuff. Like I mentioned with the chord charts. When you go to a chord chart, let's go Signor Mouse, Aldemiola. This only has a chord chart. So when you have a chord chart, as this is about to be, it will tell you the name of the chord. So that can be as passive or active as you like. Like A flat sus4 is an A flat chord with the fourth instead of a third. And then it goes back down to an A flat minor or major. And then we have an A flat 7, which is a dominant, and then a D flat, which is a 1 to 4, and then the 4 minor, and then back to the 1 major, and then a diminished chord, which is usually a 7, but here, like, you can pay attention as much or as little as you want to the theory that's being presented to you, and it pauses every once in a while. Is there any way to slow down or speed up the songs? Yes. You will have to go into riff repeater, and then you basically, I used to do this all the time. I would just do the whole song, and then I would go song speed, and then lower that to whatever speed you wanted it to be played at, and then you do that. And then you go down to start practice. And so you can line yourself up, get ready to play the chord, and then it'll tell you how many beats until the next chord comes up, so that you can time yourself really well. And then you have like your progression going exactly the way that you want it to. It's, God, I just love everything that they have put. Yeah, the minor 4 is a great little switch up there. Makes for a very emotional kind of thing. And then the D diminished. D flat minor 6. Ooh, that's a funky little chord. A flat 7, which is the old dominant. Yeah, like there's so much in it that is going to be passive. I presume that they will, like with kind of pestering, they will want to add more theory, because there is a need for that. And there is a genuine want for it. I don't know how... Oh, cool. Sweet. Oh, I got doves. I'm going to swap to that right now. My next reward is a little banner thing that I can have. But yeah, if there are enough people that go into the Rocksmith inbox, I think that's what it's called, Rocksmith inbox, which is a community centric feature in the game, which depends on people asking the questions, and like this is going to take questions from the community and bring them into the game. And I'm not sure exactly what their plans are for it, but it's possible that they'll bring in new people to be educators. They'll bring in people to be, or maybe it'll all just be Doug. But I presume Doug doesn't know everything. Sorry, Doug. Maybe you do. But he seems like a very knowledgeable kind of fella, and he's absolutely genuine. He's a house on fire. But like, this is where that kind of stuff will find its roots. And then I presume, because it's going to be such a modular kind of game, they might be able to add the further features. For example, we don't have the what was the feature where you could basically build a band? I don't remember what it was called, unfortunately. But you could just rock along with a band with a set of parameters. 2014 has that too. Oh yeah, totally. Rocksmith 2014 has the riff repeater. That's been a feature, I think, since the original studio mode or whatever. Yeah, something like that. But anyway, playing with a band, essentially. Like, that's not a feature yet, but because there's lots of space up at the top of the screen there, there's lots more room for tabs. So we can have customize, learn, home, play, search, and then the other thing. Because I think that is their plan. They do intend absolutely to expand into that realm again, because people love that. Like, that was one of my favorite things about 2014, where you just build your band and then you just improvise around these chords, and they would show everything that was going on. Yeah, that's I can't imagine them not doing that in this new game. Because yeah, it's an incredible feature of 2014, but because it was such a success to a certain extent, like, I can't imagine it not. I've said that too many times already, but like, phenomenal, like, so good. And yeah, Riff Repeater is available and everything. The arcade was fun as well. I would love to see some updated version of the games. Yeah, I don't know if that's going to be a priority for them, unfortunately, because yeah, they were great for learning the interface for Rocksmith, but they might not have been specifically very good for like learning the guitar. Like, the sliding and the string skipping was really good, and the dynamics thing was a little iffy. It would work and it wouldn't work. The bends thing, like, being able to control various parts of it are very important, but you would kind of forget it sometimes, and the accuracy on it wasn't great. So I'd imagine if it's brought in, it'll be quite a bit down the road. Now with online subscription version, I doubt they'll invest on pay once format ever at all. Yeah, definitely not. And because of the subscription model, they can afford to continuously develop it, you know? Like, they had weekly DLC before, but I guess that wasn't quite filling the coffers as they needed them to be able to support what the huge amount of input that would need to be put into a game like this to make it as good a game as it could possibly be. And currently, it's an amazing tool for beginners and for advanced people who want to expand the musical ability that they have into different genres, into different spaces, and to maybe even learn the basics of songwriting. Hush, Burrito Blush. I don't feel like it's worth it, since the game's never going to be mine. The game's never going to be yours. Well, you know, that's not an unreasonable thing, but like, I think that it is like anything that is a regular payment. Like, do you own your house if you rent it? Yes, you do. You own the house while you are living in it. While you are paying rent for that house, you are technically, like, it's a little iffy, but you are technically the owner and responsible for its upkeep. Same with like a Netflix thing. Yeah, you don't own the movies there, but you have access to them, and, you know, you can go on and off with it. $100 per year is a competitive price. I pay more than that for Musician. Exactly. Like, it's cheaper than Musician, and with the yearly thing, it's less than $10 a month, which is a pretty nice. Yeah, the ability to not play offline is a bit of a stinger. So you can't just take Rocksmith Plus everywhere you go, and you won't be able to have the progression while you're necessarily on the road if you're doing that kind of thing. But they have the mobile app so that you can play through that, which I presume is also playable through the Ubisoft Connect app, and will update those scores. I'm not 100% sure on that. I don't know the extent of the mobile phones app's ability to do that kind of thing. I don't actually know how it works at all. I have no intention of using it, but that's a feature. And then if you have your phone on you, then you can attach your phone's signal to your laptop and then have an internet connection. So there are ways around, but I do understand the want to have the game and then just have it. I hope they make one subscription for multiple platforms. Having to pay twice to have on computer and app would be weird. Yeah, that is a little bit weird. I think the app is free anyway. I was paying about $150 for IRL music teacher, so that's the comparison I'm making. Yeah, oh man. Is that a year? Would you pay $150 a year for an IRL music teacher? Because back in my day, when I was learning various per month, fucking hell, yeah. I mean, that's actually, honestly, I say fucking hell, but I'm gonna go to the old webcam while we're just having the chats about the whole kind of pros and cons of the whole situation. The phone app is free, yeah, so totally. About $150 per month for teacher. How much is that? It's basically 150. It's basically $32.50 per week, kind of rounded up or something like that. Is it? I might be wrong. $37.50 per week. Also, it could be nice if they allow us to temporarily download songs later for a limited time. That might be a bit of a stretch, but I suppose that is something that a lot of the streaming platforms are doing now, where you can download the songs onto your phone so that you can take them up into the plane and you can fly with them and you can take them out on the road and do whatever you want. An hour a week, yeah. And then this is $100 for an entire year of educational content. Yes, it might be a little bit less specifically directed for what you want to be doing, but the tools in this game that have become that have been developed in order for you to be able to have somewhat of a personal experience with it, like with the skill profile thing. I'll bring this back. Like this guitar skill profile, I'll show you how to get to it in Rocksmith. In the home page, you just go down a little bit and then you have your skill profile. Like, this is personalized to each individual person. Each individual person will have these sets of skills that the lower ones you obviously have to work on, or that you have to do more on. And then as you play more, you'll have a better idea of how you are progressing. Once you've played, I don't know, some number of hours, it will have a really good idea of your playing ability. Because I've been playing for quite a long time, so I presume this just hasn't got enough information on me yet. Although I could be wrong. I could be a lot worse than I think I am. But I presume as we go on, this will be able to teach me more. And each individual one has great little videos and so much educational content for, and it's well put together. It's very easy to understand. It's so good. $190 teacher per month near where I live. That would be more than we wanted to afford at the time, and the app is working great for me. I'll go for a teacher later when I feel like I need to advance further. Yeah, that's very reasonable. Playing Rocksmith in tandem with a teacher is probably your best situation use of Rocksmith, but people can't afford that. $100 is still a pretty serious commitment, and even $15 a month is still a relatively serious commitment for some people, which is very fair. Not everybody has the money to do that kind of thing, which is why they had their price point where it was, so that it's not prohibitive to entry for too many people. They want people to play this game, and yeah, they want to make money off it, but that's only so that they can support the game, because having a game like this available on the internet, there's server fees, and they have to pay for, they say the licensing has been simplified, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't cost anything. It's crazy. He combined Rocksmith 2014 with teaching with sorry. He combined Rocksmith 2014 with IRL training and found the IRL training was better for music theory. Totally. And had to quit fairly early on because of wrist injury. I'm sorry. So I'm looking forward to starting over now that I've healed. Again, this game has health and wellness section, which I'm sure they will expand on, so that you can pay attention to what your body is telling you and the best practices that you can follow so that you don't injure yourself. If the injury happened outside of guitar, that is, I'm really sorry about that. That's absolutely terrible. I value my hands so much. Like, I work with my hands in the job that I do in the film industry as a set decorator. But hurting my hands outside of like doing that at all, it was because of guitar. Well, then fair enough. I'm so sorry. But if you injure yourself playing guitar, then that's a technique issue. If you've hurt yourself, then it's because you might not necessarily have been playing best. And following this kind of stuff, the health and wellness stuff, will help you to be mindful of what your body is doing. Like, tension in playing guitar in your muscles is very, like, you would think that, like, to play really fast you'd have to be tense and just but then you're not in control of it. So part of learning to play the guitar at the higher speeds is being able to relax into it, starting slow and becoming so familiar with exactly what you're playing that it becomes effortless. And it sucks hearing that, because it's not an immediate fix, but it is really, really important to be able to develop that kind of mentality towards playing. So if you've been off of playing guitar for a significant period of time, you should, for yourself, especially since you hurt yourself playing guitar, you should practice mindfulness with how you're playing. So doing the stretches, which I'll just put on this video and Natasha will show you while I'm talking. So learning the stretches is really, really handy. Sorry. Stretching and strengthening key muscle groups can help you play more comfortably and avoid injury, which is true, because when you're playing guitar, you are exercising. You're doing a very physical thing. It's very mental and it's very physical. Yeah. I'm happy to see the exercises here. Yeah, it's phenomenal. Like, they have covered so much about what it means to be playing guitar and to be a guitar player. And with this kind of stuff, you will be prepared to get up towards a professional kind of standard. Even like neck exercises. And like, it's about posture, it's about your wrist, it's about everything. Because the whole machine has to work efficiently in order not to hurt yourself. Like, you wouldn't go and play a game of football without doing a warm-up. It's almost the exact same kind of thing. Oh, thank you, Corcad, for the follow, or Core3C4D. Yeah, like, they really have covered a huge amount of stuff. Oh! Be gone! Thank you so much for subscription. With Prime, give me that Jeff Bezos money. Thank you, Corcad. That's dope. Thank you so much. Keep them in shape. You can stretch your hands and wrists, which is obviously what you would need to do to prevent strain in your wrists. Appreciate the conversation. Yeah, totally. I really want to expose this game for what it is to people who think that it needs to be something else. So I appreciate you asking the questions. The questions are the only way that I can clarify the misconceptions that people might have about what this game is, or what it's going to be, or where it's going to go. Because where it's going to go, I only have my theories. But, you know, I feel like I know enough about how this game currently works and the directions that it could go that I can make a relatively informed opinion as to where it might go. Yeah. We'll have more wellness tips in future videos. Amazing. Like, so cool that they're doing this. I love it. It's, gosh, like, I don't know if, I haven't played the Fender Play app, and I haven't played Musician. I don't know if they have this kind of stuff here, but I am so glad to see it around. I hope Musician has it. I hope that they have things to be aware of your wellness while you are playing guitar, because playing guitar well is not just making it sound good. It's being able to play and also continue to play. Because you could technically be able to play for almost non-stop if you had built up the exercises and prepared your body to be able to follow that kind of endurance test, as it kind of was. But yeah, this game is really, really cool. And I'm so, so glad that so much of it is oriented towards the development of people's individual skills, as opposed to just like throwing as much stuff out there as they could and like hoping that people would buy it. Because with the subscription model, there's kind of less there's less decision to be made. The only decision that you have to make is what song you're going to play. And even the people who are like like resistant to the like the pop songs, like the Britney Spears and stuff that are in this, like even they might be tempted enough to give it a little go. Or maybe they'll stay stubborn and refuse to play anything other than, I don't know, their Master of Puppets, and they're welcome to it. But yeah, they have this little section, the Get to Know Rocksmith Plus, which is a handy little walkthrough of various aspects in the game. One of which is one that I've never touched, so I don't know a huge amount, that creating songs within the workshop, which is, it seems like a simplified version of the actual software that the developers use, the note trackers use to input the necessary information to build a chart, which is so cool. Like, I don't know of anyone that would give away a simplified version of their incredible technology that like is essential to the maintenance of their game. Because like people who see this will be like, okay, that's how it works. Maybe we can rip it and make a better version of it or something. And then they'll get sued by Ubisoft, which is great, because then they can reinvest that money. I mean, they're probably just going to give it to stakeholders if we are living in a capitalist hellscape. But, you know, some things are cool, like this game's ability to teach us how to play the guitar. Yeah, there's so much in this game that I really, really love. Like, I'm not new to guitar in almost any way, but this is really, honestly, such a phenomenal tool to anyone who plays guitar or wants to play guitar, and I'm so glad that it exists. And I'm so glad that Ubisoft decided to not only start it but maintain it, because like I can imagine the overheads and the like initial investment in something like this without knowing necessarily whether it's going to be successful or as successful as you might want it to be is like there's so much uncertainty in all of that. But they decided to keep going with it, and I'm so, so glad that they did. And I've met a lot of the guys over there. I'm still pretty good friends with a couple of the note trackers, like Sam, who was here at the very beginning of the stream, and Dan Amrick, who was a community developer before Doug was in 2014, and then the original Rocksmith. And they're phenomenal people. Brian Shue, probably one of the best guitarists I've ever come across. Brian Pody, they're all really, really cool people, and they just love playing the guitar, and they're all pure salt of the earth people of every like ability. Like the people on the development team, like some of them started on the team not knowing how to play the guitar, which is a valuable insight for them. Like having somebody on the Rocksmith team that doesn't know how to play guitar is a valuable resource to them. So like being a continuous development on this game, having people like that is important. And now they're going to be able to do that apply that knowledge from the people who didn't know how to play all the way up to the people who are, like I said, the literal best guitarist I think I have ever encountered. Having that breadth of people on the team is invaluable. And they've put so many years of development. Since 2014, it's been 8 years since Rocksmith 2 came out. You know? Like, that much development with such a passionate, fantastic team of people who love doing this and love putting all of the work that they have into this game. People who have come and gone, have had their input listened to, and, you know, considered. And I'm just so glad that this game exists, that Ubisoft chose to continue developing it beyond all of what might have been profitable. And I'm sure, I mean, part of me, the skeptic, is like, yeah, they definitely are making enough money off this, they would do that. But part of me wants to believe that they're just like, let's let people learn how to play guitar. And Rocksmith Plus seems to be the pinnacle of what they have come to in the educational parts of Rocksmith and learning. They are learning how to teach us guitar, and we are learning how to play guitar from their teachings, which is just so cool. But I am going to finish off the stream. So I appreciate everybody who has come by. I really, really do hope that people understand at least a little bit better how this game is meant to be, you know, to a certain extent. Because the intentions of the game devs is their own intentions, but the way that I'm reading it, and it seems the way that most people are reading how this game is presented as its newborn self, it seems to be more about learning how to play guitar in a healthy way and in a way that is sustainable to everybody who wants to play and has progression for people who are starting from zero and progression for people who are starting from, you know, like 99%. Like, there's so much in this. Yeah. I mean, I'll repeat myself until the cows come home. But I think I will raid someone just because we have a couple of people here. And I don't know if anybody else is going to be streaming Rocksmith Plus. Maybe they got it to work with the sound, but I don't think... I'm kind of glad with how effective this stream has been. Oh, Chainbrain, who is a very large Rocksmith streamer on Twitch. He's actually the biggest, honestly. But he seems to be playing Rocksmith Plus, which is amazing. Great. Super cool. He will probably have different things to say. Maybe he'll have the same things to say. Hopefully we will have a shared interest in exactly what's going on. But I appreciate everybody who has stuck around. And yeah, so Chainbrain, going to be very informative, very interesting. He'll have a lot to say. And I appreciate all of you for stopping by. So yeah, that's going to be it from me. I've been Timothus Live. You can follow or whatever. If you haven't already, it might be a little bit too late. But yeah, here's Chainbrain. Incredible guitarist, mostly a metal guy. All the best.